1997, Chicago, Illinois, the Women's International Convention, 2,400 women, where I, a lesbian, a gay person, was able to stand up in front of absolutely everybody and say, and I was, the happiest I had ever been in my life, because Jane and I at that time were 3 years together. And I was proud to be able to do that and to be allow people to be who they are, and because I needed to be who I was in Alcoholics Anonymous. I want to thank the people of Ireland, because I sent it around, to Ireland and to Glasgow and to Scotland and to Paris and to London. And I know so many people are there. I don't know if they have the same kind of trouble as I have had in getting in. I hope not. And then we got a number of people that said, why did you just send it to lesbians and gay and trans and bi and what have you, and the Qs and the pluses and everything? What about us? And these were people, of course. I said, well, maybe you fit in the plus, plus, plus categories. So Jane then sent it out to just pretty much all of Ireland and the people that we know in the women's meetings that I have been so fortunate to not be anything more than a grateful participant in. So all that being said, I want to welcome all of you. And I'm doing this because I heard from Kim and Jenny, Linda and Lavon, that there were such success with the Marty Mann thing, that they realized that there were a tremendous amount of not just women. Now, I have to tell you, what you read was extraordinary for me to hear. It was extraordinary for me to hear. And in the General Service offices in New York, as Glenn can tell you, they have these pamphlets that talk about women in AA and gay people in AA, and it's extraordinary to be able to see that welcoming, all-encompassing thing. I can assure you and tell you unequivocally that that is not the case in certain countries that I have visited in the world. In fact, women's meetings in Ireland are not listed. Gay meetings, I don't know. Now, when you're in the cities and the large cities in Dublin and what have you, you're going to find them because we're everywhere. And these meetings are, and now a women's meeting has been formed by Jane and a couple of Marys here in Killarney, and that in itself, but it's not listed. So coming from the city of Los Angeles, and I can only talk about this and address it from myself and where I got sober and what it is meant to me to be a lesbian, to be a gay person in this community, to learn and to grow over the years of my sobriety. It's been extraordinary. So when you read something like that, there's so much more we have to do. And I was so grateful to the women of Ireland who are not in any of those categories, who wanted to come to this meeting anyway. I think it's extraordinary because, listen, is there any one of us, oh my God, David Boyd, it's great to see your little picture on the thing there. These people mean so much to me. You're the components, the lights in the road that I have always followed. It's extraordinary just to feel the magnitude of knowing how many people are out there. When I got sober, I was 22 years of age. It was 1969. It was thank God for me, it wasn't in Ireland. It was in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles, not unlike New York, was, just beginning. It was 1969. And you can imagine what it might have been like at that time. I lived in the world of secrets and lies, and in our professions, in my profession and in Alcoholics Anonymous, it was the same. The worlds of secrets and lies, and pronouns and all the nonsense, And when I joined Alcoholics Anonymous, I was blessed. I was destined to. It was my destiny that I was sort of under a white light almost from the very, very beginning of my sobriety, because I rolled into the hole in the ground in Huntington Park because I knew somebody there, and I went down and I hadn't been sober very, very long. And of course, at that time, not only would you be fired from your job for being lesbian, gay, or anything else, you would have been fired for being an alcoholic. So, you had to keep it secret that you're even a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, for God's sake. It was amazing. And in my own country, when I would visit around the time that I got sober in Ireland, believe me, they would prefer, in the rural Ireland now, no, don't say now you're an alcoholic. Your family's very well known in this area. We'll drive you 3,000 miles away to a meeting where you can go to a meeting where nobody knows you. Never never mind if I had then announced to the world, no, well, not only am I an alcoholic, but I'm also a lesbian. And, I'm a member of the gay community. Well, come on, it wouldn't. So here I walked into the hole in the, the ground in Huntington Park, and I'd been there a little while. And one of the things, that I had to do, one day Duke said to me, look, enough now. Go in the back room with this yellow tablet, and I want you to write out all your secrets, because and here we're as sick as we're secrets, and I need you to do a fourth step, and we're gonna have to figure out what the hell to do with you. And I thought, this is it. I was sober like weeks. And I thought, I'm going to get myself kicked right out of here now, because I'm going to put down things that these men, and they were mostly men, of course, in the room, would never be, they're never going to be able to deal with this. I'm going to go for it. And let me tell you, I did. I put down that I was a lesbian. I put down that whatever I put down. You can only imagine what the things I could have put down. Oh my God. And, I thought, this is it. The guy's going to say, look, you just don't belong, and goodbye, or whatever. And he didn't say anything to me at all. And then about a week later, and this is why I believe, we're all under a blessed way if we look at it from a certain point of view. Years later, I look at it now, wasn't at the beginning. And a few, maybe the next time I saw him, would have been a few days later. He said to me, Lila, look, we don't have any lesbians in our group down here, but we know a lesbian, and she's a friend of a lesbian that some other person knows. And we'd love it if you would just like to talk to her about this lesbian thing. So I meet with this woman. Oh my God, it was amazing. And she wasn't even in AA. But the love that they had for me, that they were looking for a lesbian, all these old white guys looking for a lesbian for me. And they found one, and she wasn't even in AA. And then, of course, then I went off to the young people's meetings were really becoming very, very big in Los Angeles. And again, I was so grateful to be in Los Angeles. And all these young people were in there. And it was the same thing, you didn't talk about being gay. You did whatever. And, Jesus, people trying to date you. And it was just an annoyance, really. And then I remember going into this meeting and thinking, I don't know about this AA thing. It's just so restrictive, and I don't feel comfortable. And I'm one of those, I'm a seeker, and I knew when I joined Alcoholics Anonymous, don't have time to get into it, but anybody that's heard my tape or knows my story knows that I come from a family where there was a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, my father, and all of that. And I really was not going to be a personality and pretend and go through all that. If I was going to be a member of AA, it was going to have to be me. And I knew that was going to come out someday. And so I went into this meeting, and I thought, look, there better be somebody like me. There better be somebody like me that I can identify with in this meeting, or I'm done. I'm just absolutely done. Now, I knew that I wasn't done, because I knew that I was the kind of alcoholic, from having gone to that meeting in the first place, where they say, you're an alcoholic. You have 4 things you have to do. You have to know that you're an alcoholic. You have to go to meetings for the rest of your life, like that was going to happen for me. You're going to have to read the big book for the rest of your life, like I had any intention of doing any of that. And you're going to have to find a God of your own understanding, and that will take you the rest of your life. And by the way, while you're working on all of that, we're going to also tell you how to stay sober a day at a time. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to immediately have to start sleeping more, eating better. If you smoke, you can smoke more, Lila. You can drink all the coffee that you want to. I'm surprised we all didn't die. We're all hypoglycemic. And you need to, we're going to come to your house, and then we're going to help you clean that house. But we'd like you to clean out your car yourself. You can do that. So you can get rid of the bottles and everything. And we're going to come over, and we're going to take the life forms out of your refrigerator that have been in there for a long time. And we're going to make sure that we check all the shoe boxes and all the little secret places in your house, so that we can get rid of all the booze and the stuff that you hid when you don't even know you hid it. And sure enough, 3 of them show up at my house, and it was like, oh my God, I was having a fit, because, can't we just give this stuff to people? How can you just throw this great stuff away? Anyway, and they get you. And then they said, now look, then when in a short period of time, they had assigned me some woman that they actually found. And that was good too. But, you have to be careful, fall in love with your sponsors, they fall in love with you. You break every rule, and that's sort of what was going on. I was like, Jesus Christ. But then one day somebody came over and said, you don't even know how to manage your checkbook. I thought I'd paid all these bills all these years I was drinking. And all I did is I wrote the checks and I filed them in shoeboxes in my closet. And I ended up being bankrupt when I joined Alcoholics Anonymous. Oh my God in heaven. And, for $3,000, Jesus Christ, and anyway, I declared bankruptcy. And I had this new car. Of course, I was now sober and I needed to show you how all the exterior stuff, so that you would understand that I wasn't just your average falling down drunk. I had a brand new car. And, I then, they said to me, we're going to have to look at your financial stuff because, and I got on this little budget and paid little bits on all these bills and did whatever they wanted me to do. And then, then they said to me, you got to get rid of the car. And I thought, Jesus Christ. So nobody told me how to do that. So I went into Bank of America where the loan on the car was, and I walked up to the teller and I said, look, I'm a wreck. I'm new in Alcoholics Anonymous. And one of the things I have to do is give you back the car. I can't use this car. I can't afford it. And I have to give you back the car. And I gave the keys on the counter there. And I said, here, here's all the paperwork I have. And here are the keys. I can't take the stress now. I have to be very careful because I'm newly sober on AA. And she said, this is not how we do it. This is not how we do it. I said, oh, I don't know how you do it. But the car's in the parking lot and there are the keys. And I walked away. I never did figure out what the hell happened with that car. I did think I have to pay a little money for that experience. But this is how they told us in 1969. This is what it was like 51 plus years ago when you went in there. There was no nonsense. It was like, you need to know how to live, pay your bills, get your house in order, clean it up, and do all those kind of things. And so I did. And as I had done all those things, it was amazing because now I'm like getting my energy back and my strength back. And I'm thinking, okay, now I'm going to go to this young people's meeting. Can you imagine a young people's meeting? I'm 74 years of age today and I went to a young people's meeting. And anyway, and I thought, unless there's a certain there's somebody in there that I can identify with, I just can't do it. These guys are asking me on dates, for Christ's sake. What the hell is that? Then there's one big lesbian's after me because I don't know why she takes me to I think we're going to have coffee. She takes me to a bar. Even I know that's not right. You don't go to places where you're slippery. I understood all those kind of things. You don't mess around. I don't 13 step a goddamn new person, especially a lesbian, for Christ's sake. I didn't need all of that aggravation. I could hardly keep it together as it was. And I had gone back working and it was like, oh my God, life is like spinning out of control. And I go into this meeting. And there's a woman that was speaking, her name was Gail Wilson. And Gail is up there now. Gail is a dyed-in-the-wool lesbian. She, at that time, and went on to be more successful than she was that night. And I thought, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Because that's who I want. I wanted what she had. And I wanted her Mercedes, and I wanted her car. And I wanted all those things. And I stayed because somebody like me talked about who they were and what they were doing. Now, it didn't get much easier than that. Then we had something that was AT, couldn't be gay AA, so it was called Alcoholics Together. Okay, fine, and we met on top of this building. And so that kind of went on for a while. And then before you know it, we've got gay AA. And then there's little groups of us forming here and there. And, none of it was sanctioned. And I remember the night that Riley and I went to a huge meeting in Brentwood, and Riley, well, God bless him, rest his soul. And we both had it, we had it. But because now we're sober, we're moving around, we're sober a year, 2, 3, on our way to our 5th year. And oh my God, we're alive with our soberness and our life and our wanting to be free and gay and there were new clubs opening up in Los Angeles, and it was a really exciting time. And there were other gay people in meetings, and we would sit in our own little group of people, and pretty soon our group was like pretty good sized group. And I moved to the west side of Los Angeles, and at that time, it was sort of like the beginning of what West Hollywood would be today. It was a very, very exciting time, and I met all these wonderful people that were in AA, and I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I'm just telling you that it was exciting and it was the beginning and you could feel it. and all these things were happening in the world around the whole gay community. And what did it have to do with me being in Alcoholics Anonymous? It had to do that I was a member of AA, and that yes, when I, to this very day, all of these 50 something years later, when I walk into a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous and that door closes, trust me, I'm looking at a bunch of other alcoholics. I don't look at gay people, straight people, tall people, pluses, minuses. I don't know what the hell letters you all may be. I am just looking at other souls that are alcoholics. I drank because I am an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic because I have an allergy to alcohol. If I have a drink today, I will want to drink within tonight. And the one drink will take the drink and the rest of it will go on its merry way because I have an allergy. But I understand below that allergy, and that why I need that synthetic power they call in the talk about in the doctor's opinion. I know that below that allergy, why now I drank. I would have drunk anyway because of my allergy. I would have been an alcoholic. But I now know how to stay sober because they said to me, Lila, you have a soul sickness. You have a soul sickness. We're going to have to treat that. First, we're going to treat your alcoholism. We're going to tell you how to stay sober. We're going to tell you to make your bed in the morning when you get up so you don't get back into it. We're going to give you phone numbers so that you think you're going to kill yourself, you can call us. And we're going to tell you, take a bath, eat a banana, read the big book, any page will do. That's what we're going to do. I can't recap all of those things. We're going to tell you to go to meetings and pick people up and do whatever. We're going to tell you that, you know, that you have to reach out to every little newcomer that comes in the room. We're going to teach you to be a greeter. We're going to give you service to do. We're going to make you feel connected for the first time in your life, so that when you're 6 months sober, you're sitting in a meeting and you feel safe for the first time in your life. You feel safe. You were going to introduce you to people that you can begin to trust, that aren't going to want you for anything, but to help you with your sobriety. They're not going to give one good damn whether you have a car or you don't have a car. They're going to not care about your nonsense and your bullshit. They're just going to want to know for the first year of your sobriety if you have a sponsor and if you're listening to that person and you're doing every single thing they tell you to do, whether you think it's stupid or not. And you're going to find out when you're 5 years sober and 10 years sober why that's important, that you do whatever they tell you to do at the beginning, whether you like it or not, because there will come a time when you'll need to make those phone calls and you'll be sober a while. And you're going to need to make those phone calls and you'll know how to do it because you did it so willingly in your first year. Everything I learned in the first year of my sobriety, everything that I tolerated to stay in AA, every asshole that I ran into that said something derogatory about gay people, everybody that used queer in a word that was really harmful and hurtful, every one of them, I have survived them, fucking all of them. I'm still here. I don't know where they are, but I'm here. I'm happy. I'm gay. I'm myself. I am unafraid. And believe me, I have never been more whole and more within myself. And that's what happens within your 5, 10, I was 18 years sober. I was successful. I was still pretending out there in the world, you know, and lying and everything. And even that had to stop when I realized you're enough. You're enough in AA, then eventually you become enough in the world and you become enough in your profession, because people really, do they care about your gender or what you're doing with yourself or who your orientation is? No. Are you smart? Are you good? Are you intelligent? Are you a hard worker? Do you make a contribution to society? Do you have some compassion? Are you a good person? Trust me, that's what shows. And I learned how to be that person as a result of going in and out of meetings in Alcoholics Anonymous, of the anger and the rage at the people in the sandbox of AA, of learning how to put up with people because I had nowhere else to go. I believed them when they told me I was an alcoholic. I knew I was. I knew that the longer I stayed sober, when I was 18 years sober, I knew that I had a soul sickness, that I was done, that my life was changing, and it wasn't enough. And what was I going to do? What was I going to do? And I went back and I read that big book, Like Only the Dying Can. And that's when I found the steps and made them my very own. Not that we hadn't been doing the steps, for God's sake. We would do 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 12. Really? Do you know the steps that are important to me now, 51 years later, that keep me sane? 6, 3, the decision to not do it by myself. 6, accept my life, take responsibility for it, learn to cooperate. 7, when I've done all I can do, ask God for help. 10, 10 and 11. I live in the shroud and the care and the comfort of 10 and 11, because I'm there. I know that in 10, my yesterdays will match my today. They will meet my today. And today I pause. And today I protect my inside. And today the inventory I take is not all the little nonsense. It's about, am I protecting myself? Am I protecting that place inside that on Dr. Bob's desk, it said, there's a place inside of us where we can go when all is seemingly trouble around us. There's a place inside where we can go where it is quiet and there is peace and we can be at one with ourselves. That's what 10 is. And I protect that space. And I have learned to protect it in the last number of years. I learned to protect it because at 18 years, I needed the steps more than I had ever needed them before. I needed to understand them and I needed to make them my own. I met some people that over the years had done them in a different way. And I listened and I thought, no, they're my spiritual answer. They're the things that are going to treat, because I knew when I was 18 years sober, how sick I really was inside, sober as a judge, how I had so many defenses and things I used on the outside to let you know, this is who I am, all these outside things. Trust me, there are no outside things with me now, and I can afford and have a lot of outside things. But let me tell you, do you care about that? Do I care about that when I'm sitting in an AA meeting, what you have and what you don't have? When you come into my house, do you think I care about what you have and what you're worth or any of the other bullshit that I have to listen to? No. I want to come in my house and me to go to your house, and I want a decent cup of tea or coffee, and I want a great slice of toast, and I want extra butter and extra jam because we deserve it. And I want to talk about how grateful we are that we're still alive. All of us in these boxes that I know, the people that I know are here, the people that I love in my heart, the people that I can't do without. And trust me, do you think that people like me, when you're sober all of these years and you've survived all of this and you know how meaningful it is? I stay sober a day at a time, just like those old guys told me. And I will be sober for the rest of my life, one day at a time. And I will tell you why. I am sober because they taught me how to treat my soul sickness. And I learned the hard way. 18 to 25 years of my sobriety. In that period, I learned that if I didn't make these steps my own, I wasn't going to make it. And I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous how to put my life in order, how to have an orderly life, how to have a more peaceful life. And then I learned how to treat my soul sickness as a result of walking through the steps of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I went out to those meetings in the South and all over the bloody place. And I would talk to those good old boys who have those double names, Joe, Jody, or whatever they call themselves. With, and many, many meetings where I knew they weren't going to hear about, here she is with those damn steps again. And not only that, if there's any gay people in the meeting, she's going to address them. How many times I wish I had been with Glenn, because it would have been easier for me. But I remember being in the Deep South once, and oh my God, I'll never forget it. And I was in this convention speaking because I knew there were some people out there like me. I began to hear and to know, Lila, you go out and you talk about how you stayed when you didn't think you could stay because you needed a God of your own understanding and you didn't have one. How you needed these steps and you needed to make them your own, and that everything you'd ever heard from all those strange little airy fairy people that nobody paid attention to when I first got sober, that they were considered the periphery and the fringe and the gay nonsense of Alcoholics Anonymous, all of those seekers, oh my God, and they told me such things, and I began to use everything that I had been heard in Alcoholics Anonymous. I made the steps my own, and I went out and I thought, this is it. If you want me to speak at your meeting, you're going to get me. You're going to get the steps. You're going to get why I'm sober, why I'm here. I'm going to identify my disease as an allergy. Don't kid yourself. You have a physical allergy. You cannot drink. And if you think for 1 minute that all that medication that you're taking, if you take one for yourself, you better understand your own motives. Near beer, who the hell would put their hand in a fire? I just have been through so much. I watch so much. I just step back now and I think, thank God there'll be other people to take care of all this bullshit. We're way beyond, are you gay or are you straight or are you a woman? Trust me, a women's meeting in Killarney has just 2 years old. If it wasn't for Zoom, they wouldn't be all these women from Glasgow and London and Paris and Ireland. And it's a closed meeting, so don't be asking about it. But it's an amazing, amazing thing to be able to see that. I remember going to Paris and going to that Tuesday night meeting, a gay meeting in Paris, you know, unlisted. It was listed in the English speaking meetings because it was the English directory, but you know, in North America, but it wasn't a lot in Paris. They wouldn't have listed it. It was like, oh my God, you know, and it was the most exciting thing. And I met John, and I met so many people. I met so many people. I met Dawn, and I met them all, and the Bella with the B. And I'm telling you, there were people that were wonderful who are now in my life today. And then we were in Palm Springs, California, 2000, I don't know, 15. Yeah, thank you, Jane. 2015. And it was a women's conference, and Mary Monks from 1997 in Chicago is still coming to those conventions. They're amazing. And I kind of thought, you know, this is it. You know, it's my hometown. And I just went nuts about the gay thing and being a lesbian. I had no hesitation about it all. And there were two young women from Scotland there, super Scots, we call them. And little do we, can I tell you, they're in the women's meeting that Jane facilitates here in Ireland. Can you, the dots are all connecting all over the world for me. It's just astounding. But what are we sharing? We're sharing the fact that we've made it. We're sharing the fact that we survived. We're sharing the fact that we all believe the fundamental thing. You must learn that this is an inside job and you have to get there. And before I die, I'll have more inside. It's within me. It's within me. This is what I have to have. No more pronouns, no more anything. I am confident with who I am. I am a person of, I was going to say a person of God. I am not that spiritual. I do not have a religious bent in my body at all, but I am so safe in this world and I am so connected to the next. My God of my understanding, little did that man know that would take me maybe 30 years of my sobriety to be able to comfortably say that the God of my understanding is a G-O-D, ghosts on demand. I knew I began to need so much more as I grew in sobriety, as the years went on, as I became, you know, from declaring bankruptcy of $3,000 and leaving my big car at the Bank of America teller. Jesus, I did go back a few years later, ran into the same woman and made an amend. Anyway, it's a long story, but I became, and I come from a country, you know, I was born in Ireland, and I come from a country where I understood repression, and I had very difficult years as we went from Ireland to Canada to the United States. As my father got progressively sicker and my mother became extraordinarily strong, and it wasn't easy, you know, up and down and all of that. But I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, you just put one little foot in front of the other, and you just pay your little bills, and you do this and that and the other thing. And because I came from that country, I own everything. I was driven by financial insecurity. I was driven by it. And they say that your greatest liability, and that was a liability for me. It was an identity, the money. It was an identity, and it was a tremendous liability. But I learned so much from that drive. And guess what? Now it's my greatest asset. I'm comfortable. I'm no longer guilty about it. I was guilty about it up until about 40 years of sobriety. What the hell is that? I'm not guilty about it. I'm so grateful that I have enough, that I know how to pay my bills, that we have an orderly life, that our house is in order. And I'm going to tell you something else. Just because we have a place in Santa Monica and we have a place here and all of the rest of it, and we have all of these things, if we needed to downsize in 2.5 minutes, I am married to a woman for 27 years, been together for 27 years, where we would downsize. We would live in a tent and we would be happy. And the quality of our cup of tea would be just as good as if we were wherever the hell we are now. I can assure you, the simplest things in life are what's important. It's not what I have on the outside. It's how do I manage it on the inside? How do I manage it on the inside? I mean, I am still, all these years later, having to deal with, you know, outside of AA, there's so many political stuff going on. Inside of AA, I don't talk about whether I'm a Democrat or a Republican, or you should be, or this should be, or that gay guy, or this thing, or what's that. I don't care in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous what you are, what you say, or what your politics or religion is. I have no interest, but I do have an interest in my own. And if I am upset, you can goddamn bet that I am going to say in the meetings that I attend on a regular basis that I am upset. I am poisoned by what I hear. I am hurt by what I hear. I don't know, and I can't believe this still goes on. How could this be? I've had the extraordinary pleasure of just being a lesbian and then being a member of the gay community and then realizing, wow, gay's a big word, like it's men and women and all of us, you know. And then I had the, I was one of those. I was one of those back in the day. I thought, bi, people are bi? What, are you kidding me? You know, Jesus, really? I mean, you know, like, I don't understand that. And then I understood that because I met a bunch of people that were bi and they explained it to me and I got to know what that was about. I had the experience of personal experience of in my home of Jane sponsoring somebody that transitioned and oh my God, the courage and the strength and what I learned. I can tell you, I don't know about half of these you know, what does Q mean and plus and plus and plus. I no longer care. I care because I am going to love a person that's in front of me because they have a soul, because I can't do without looking through their eyes. And if I don't feel something coming back, if I feel some issue with me, for instance, because I am a clear lesbian or because I do whatever, because I say whatever the hell I want, you know, if I feel anything, I'm going to walk away from you. I don't engage anymore. I don't engage with the nonsense. I'm very comfortable with who I am. I pray a lot about what to do. I ask questions. I live in the question of life. I had some family issues regarding the usual thing, you know, money and trust and things. And I had some family issues and I asked them questions and questions and questions and questions. And I asked the same question almost every other day. And then all of a sudden, a whole bunch of things started to happen and I got all those answers because I used to want answers for maybe, I don't know, 30, 40, a long time in my sobriety. Answers, results, answers. I don't want any answers anymore. I have learned as a result of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous how to have my house in order. I am so fortunate to be in love with, more than in love with, the woman that's sharing my life. We have a very orderly and comfortable and caring and fun. We laugh all the time life. She is herself sober over 30 years and is so instrumental in so many people's lives. Oh my God Almighty, it's absolutely extraordinary to be in a home where it's a house of AA, where it's all going on, you know. I just can't. I just lost my train of thought, which is good because I would have gone off on some tangent, you know. So this is a crazy meeting, but this is a meeting about us. This is a meeting about everybody. This is a meeting about anybody that's in the spectrum and has any questions whatsoever. When I'm troubled, I'm going to talk in Alcoholics Anonymous. The issue with the family, that's where I left off there. So I had all these questions and then this stuff happened and I thought, oh, that's it. That's what this all means. And this is what I'm going to do. And that wasn't, and I thought, this is exactly what I wanted to have happen. And isn't this great? And I'm so grateful to get the answer. And wow, doesn't this make sense? And that wasn't it at all. Within 24 hours, the whole family blew up. And I finally ended up making a decision that I never thought I would make. Because you see, as a result of Alcoholics Anonymous, as a result of staying alive for 74 years, as a result of 50 plus years of 51, 2 or whatever, of sobriety, as a result of little pieces of each of you, little pieces of Dallas, little pieces of Charles and Tulsa, little pieces of Paris, little pieces of big pieces of Ireland, of course, you know, little pieces of Glasgow. Oh, the help and the kindness and the love of Joe in London, the relationship that I miss to this day in such painful way of my friend that I talk to almost every week, every other week for 48 years that passed away. The continuity of new people, the continuity of meeting all of the friends that Jane has introduced in my life now that we're back in Ireland and half, you know, the new people, the coincidences, the I can't tell you. Thank you very much. I can't tell you what it means to just continue to persevere here. You know, whatever you learned, God willing, you learned all the right things in the, and listen, I'm in a country where sometimes I've heard people say, and I used to hear this too in the United States. Glenn used to know this would drive me mad, but you know, you only do the steps once. You don't need to be doing them forever. Really? Where does it say that? And you have a book that's different than my book, because in my book, it has the word lifetime. Okay, I do the steps all the time. I read the book all the time. I make sure I do it every month, every year. Why? Because it's new, because I change, because I'm different, and I will not set back and just let it happen. I'm a participant in my sobriety. I have always been since 18 years of sobriety. Why is it 18? Because that was the turning point when I knew that if I did not put this inside of myself, I was at risk to drink again, and I cannot let that happen. I am solid as a goddamn rock inside of me. I know how strong I am. I am spiritually absolutely strong because every day I have rituals. Every day I am grateful. Every day I ask those questions. Every day I look at Jane in the morning and I think, oh my God, could I be happier? No, I could not be happier. And it'll fill up my whole entire day. I live in the day, one day at a time. Do you know how long it's taken me to live one day at a time? It's the hardest friggin' thing I've ever done. I'm still not great at it, but to just live one day at a time. It took all of those steps. It took understanding my unmanageability and needing my house in order. Except knowing that I too, if I was restored in 2, I would get the restoration in 10 and 11. If I could make a decision to turn myself over in 3, I would get the blessing and the healing in 6 and 7. If I could take a look at that inventory in 4 and I could talk to somebody that was not going to tell me what to do, but to listen to me and to help me along the way with that, I would absolutely become a person that could listen to somebody else, that could have compassion, that could share, and then I would be able to turn that onto myself and receive it. I knew that in 6, if I could accept things, I could do everything I could do to make it right for me and for other people, and I could go on to 7. And I finally understood that 8 and 9 were to be done after you have that spiritual experience, after you have that spiritual experience, so that you can then have the qualities that they give you in the step 9. They tell you what the qualities are that you need for the rest of your life. I am so grateful to be gay, to be a lesbian, to be open to everything and everybody, whatever you need to be. I welcome you because I am excited that I have room inside of me, that I don't have myself filled up with needing to prove something with me. It's all about me. No, it's not about me. I am so damn bored with me. I can barely speak in Alcoholics Anonymous anymore. I'm done with myself. That's why I so restrict what I do, because I can't be doing it for anybody. I can only hope that there's one person out there, one person, one gay person, one straight person, I don't care. One person who's doing whatever you're doing. If you are troubled, don't go anywhere. You come into those rooms, and when they close those doors, you look at everybody in that room as if they're just another alcoholic. Now, when they open those doors, you get your opinions back. And if anybody harms anybody, you get out there and you say, don't be harming these people in AA. There's no more 13 stepping first people. Be careful. Don't offer people things that you don't know what you're talking about. Thank you. That's what my AA is about. I won't let you harm anybody, and I'll talk to you in the parking lot. But in the rooms, we all belong in Alcoholics Anonymous. If you don't know that you have a seat that's yours for the rest of your life in Alcoholics Anonymous, you need to know how to protect it. And if you ever ponder whether that's possible, you find me. You find me and you look in my eyes and I'll say to you, yes, you're just like me and I'm just like you. And our soul sickness will become our greatest asset because we will heal ourselves. We will heal ourselves, and the great reality deep within us will be what it will be all about. We will be peaceful. We will be peaceful, and we will be safe. We will be safe, not just in Alcoholics Anonymous, but in the world, because we learned how to be safe in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and in the arms of so many people that I would love to be able to just touch in these boxes tonight. Thank you very much.
That's great, Lila. Thank you. Levon, we're going to unmute everybody so everybody can join me in thanking Lila.
Thank you, Lila.
Thank you, Lila. That was amazing.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
That was beautiful.
Cannot appreciate you enough. Thank you.
So amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lila.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lila.
Thank you,
Love
Lila.
you.
It's wonderful to see you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Amazing.
Thank you, Lila.
Thank
So
you.
amazing.
Thank you.